Hey there, Kubernetes Community Days DC. I'm Guy Menachem, Solution Architect at Commodore, and I'm super excited to be here today, even if it's only virtually. Today, I want to talk with you about the popular open source project by Commodore, the Helm Dashboard. Since it's a lightning talk and we have only 5 minutes, let's get right to it. So, what are we going to talk about today? First of all, I'm going to do a recap about Helm. What is Helm? What is the good side of it? And what is the difficulties of using Helm and the CLI of it? Then we are going to talk about the Helm dashboard, the UI for Helm users. And after that, we're going to talk about that if you want to contribute to the project, how would you do that? So let's start. So Helm is a lot of things. It's the templating, the packaging, the repository, and also the CLI tools. It's almost everything. It's a tool, but also a full ecosystem around it. And it's the most popular technology to package and distribute application in Kubernetes. It can be used for packaging and deploying third-party tools, but also for your own self-development application. And we heard that 90% of the people actually heard about the project, and almost 50% of the users actually using it. And it was like updated to 2022, which is a long time ago. And Helm is a super popular project. So Helm is a tool, but CLI is just not enough. Like in Helm, there are like a few simple concepts, but they are used extensively. So new users do need a much more visualized ways in order to learn it. And experienced users really like Helm, but it takes time to actually speed up operations and use it as it's supposed to be. So automation is great with Helm and the CLI, but when it breaks, you need to actually troubleshoot and find out everything. And it's really hard when you try to install a third-party package, but you get an error because of like syntax error in the templating tool. So getting all these tools involved can make it really, really hard to use. And when things go wrong, you need to run a lot of CLI commands in order to understand where is it fails. So let's take a real-life scenario. For example, you want to actually find out what changed in 2 recent Helm versions. So you need to have 5 commands to get the values, export them into a file, and actually diff them in order to just understand which values and component actually change between 2 versions of in-ear Loki. So the good side about the CLI is that if you want to incorporate that in automations, in linear flow, and actually code using it, that works really well. Helm is actually built to do that. But Helm also falls short when we are talking about people with lack of experience of using it, because it's so complex tool and it built up by many components that supposed to build like a full ecosystem using only a single project. And as I said before, it's really complex to troubleshooting, and you need to understand where problems are starting, and obviously there are like multi-factors that problems can start in. So it's kind of complex. And this is where the CLI actually falls short. So what is the solution? We have launched the Helm Dashboards. It's a visualized dashboard for Helm. And what it means that in a single dashboard, you can actually navigate through your chart, through your repository, see the change intelligence in a single dashboard. So it means that if before we had to use 5 commands in order to find out what changed between the previous version to the current one, if we can just, in a click of a button, find our chart, do compare between 2 versions, and see the values in a very nice compare view. It's also allow you to actually activate and trigger actions and operate your Helm chart within the cluster if it's installed, reconfigure, rollback, etc., etc. And it can be deployed on your local laptop and run against a cluster, but also to run and self-deploy in a cluster itself, self-hosted in your own environment. So how it look like? For example, in here we have 3 install charts, Kubernetes Watcher, Como Plane, and Authorize. You can see the versions of them and whatever you got in the cluster, which revisions they are, and when you click on them, you can also upgrade from here and see the differences back and forth. So it's a full operation dashboard just for Helm. If you decide to pick one of the versions, at the bottom you can find out all the installed resources that installed within this package. You can see the resources themselves, the manifest, only the values, the generated values or the user provided values, everything required in order to get to know Helm better within that chart. Also, we can see on the left side the history of all the revisions that he had using this chart and easily upgrade, roll back, and compare those. That's much, much, much easier than using the CLI as we saw before. So if you want to get started and get Helm up and running within your cluster, you can go into this GitHub repo. There you will find instruction of how to install it. You can install it as a standalone binary. You can add plugin, or you can install it within your own cluster and then access it from the outside. It got already more than 3,000 stars in GitHub. So it's a really involving project. It's written in Go. And we are really looking for more people to be involved in this project and to contribute much more. It's a really community project for us. So if you want to get more involved, you can start with going into the Helm Dashboard repo, open issues, and start to contribute. Join our Slack community. And if you want, you can also follow us on social media and start and use Commodore, our product, for free. That's it. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you are going to enjoy KCDDC and see you around. Bye-bye.